Hello there and welcome back to some more Forza Motorsport 7. Today we are taking a look at the November update, which of course also brought with it the free Hot Wheels car pack, which I've already made a video on. But today we are just talking about the update in general. Not a massive update here, but there are a couple of topics that are worth discussing. As usual, we got a free November Spotlight car, and it is the 1973 Porsche number 6 Penske Sunoco 917/30 Can-Am Spider. 1085 horsepower, 809 foot-pound torque, 2573 pounds of weight, P-Class 920 PI, mid-engined rear-wheel drive. I've got to be honest, I do not know a whole lot about this car. I know it has a very interesting livery on it, this sort of blue and yellow, which I think work really well together, and then it's sort of spoiled a little bit by the red, and the silver's a little bit strange. Porsche plus Audi, apparently, which is an interesting little thing on there. Yeah, don't know a whole lot about this car, other than that it is obviously a Can-Am race car. Interestingly enough, though, usually I would talk about, you know, obviously this car not getting much use out of me just because I'm not really a fan of driving sort of the older race cars, but this one is perhaps even worse than that. You see, one thing that's really killing this car in terms of its appeal to Forza players is its classification. The division it's in is Forza Specials. And Forza Specials, as you don't know, is basically the category where they chuck in pretty much everything that they can't classify by other things. So you've got the Land Cruiser in there, the Hot Wheels cars are in there, the Lamborghini LM002. And as a result, it's a classification which can't really be raced in. There's no categories for it online as far as I'm aware. There's no real place you can use it in the career mode. And as a result, this car probably not going to get much use out of anyone because it just isn't. There is no competitiveness for this car. Admittedly, it has some of the biggest tyres I've ever seen in the game, but other than for a hot lapping machine, maybe, it's not going to get much use. Now, while it probably wouldn't fit in terms of this car's real-life classification, I don't know why they didn't just put this under early prototype races. The reason they didn't put it under prototype group racing is very simple. This car is P-Class 920 PI, and everything else in that class is R-Class, and the limit on the division is 850. So this car would either have to be horribly nerfed, or, you know, just wouldn't be competitive, or it would be overpowered because they'd have to lower the PI. But putting in Forza Special does really limit its usage. Again, I think maybe it should have been in early prototype races, just to add something a little bit different to that class as well, even though that class is already full of stuff. But there you go, there is another old Porsche. We've had a lot of Porsches in this game, a lot of racing Porsches as well, so fans of Porsche probably quite happy. Those of you who are not, you know, sort of like me, who don't really care for these older Porsche race cars and stuff, probably aren't a huge fan. So, the main change this update brought with it is the removal of prize crates, and the race shop is its replacement. What this is the race shop is a place where you can buy driver gear, mods and badges, and it cycles its inventory every 6 minutes. So, right now, obviously you can see we can buy, say, Hold Steady. In fact, we might buy that, just because that's a pretty good one to buy. So, you click that, there you go. And that's purchased it. You can't repurchase it. You can see the racing gear, which we already have, and then obviously award badges. Don't know why you'd buy the badges, but you can do if you'd like. So yeah, it's interesting. I personally had no issue with the prize crates. People had issues with the prize crates purely because they associate them with microtransactions. The problem is, Turn 10 never added microtransactions to this game, so prize crates were never able to be bought with real-world money. And honestly, you know, I like the idea of buying driver gear. Gotta be honest, I do like that a lot, because there's certain driver gear you want, and buying the driver gear crates, you'd often get duplicates and stuff. You can see I already own a fair amount of driver gear there. And obviously you get the badges, which are pretty much entirely useless. I don't really care about buying those and collecting those. But having the mods in this system, I kind of preferred having the mod crates, gotta be honest. I think those could maybe have stuck around and just have a separate shop for driver gear. It's an okay way of doing it. The fact that it cycles every 6 minutes, honestly, I'd rather just prefer a full storefront especially for the driver gear where you can just buy whatever one you want. Maybe for the badges as well, while you can tie the mods into the crates. I think that would be a better way of doing it personally. But honestly, I'm not really invested in the driver gear. You've probably noticed in every video I've ever made, I'm wearing the same Forza 1 driver gear, which I get from being a certain tier in the Forza reward system, so it doesn't really bother me. I kind of like getting them for collection and so on, but, you know, I don't really use them. Anyways, you can see it restock there, so we can now buy Payday, which is actually a very good card. We will definitely go ahead and buy that. It sort of exists more to get your, ooh, I like that as well. Let's buy that. Excellent. So there you go. That's basically how it works. You can buy them, and then every 6 minutes it restocks, so you keep your eye on it, and you can get yourself driver gear and stuff. As I said, I'd probably prefer the driver gear in sort of its own storefront, or even better, you know, just have the driver gear menu like this, and you'd just be able to click a locked one, and you'd be able to buy it straight up. But obviously that's not the way they've decided to go. So the last thing that's sort of really major to cover in this update is the improved collision system, which I can't really talk too much about, I'm afraid. I don't really race online, and I don't really race the AI anymore since I completed the Forza Driver Cup thing, so it doesn't really affect me too much. As far as I can work out, basically from what they've said, is the cars now act more realistically to when they get hit, so they don't quite react to being hit so badly. You know, before obviously you'd hit a car and you could pirouette off the track and stuff like that, weird stuff. Now it seems they've made it more realistic. They've sort of dampened the effects of getting hit a little bit more. There's also a new collision assist feature, which basically slows your car down when you get hit, so you don't quite have a major accident or anything like that. Again, it's mostly for online stuff. It's supposed to stop some of the turn 1 dive bombing as well, but that's that. I can't explain it much better than that. I haven't really played around with it all that much. And if you drive cars on your own, if you're a hot lapper like I am, you won't notice it. You know, it doesn't affect the way the cars react to buildings or tires or anything like that. It's strictly for car versus car combat, which I don't really do all that often. Another small change to this update, which I think is quite a good one, is they've also made it so the drivatars don't always drive off the track at certain tracks. They'd have issues when it came to corners. As far as I can tell from the patch notes, they didn't fix the most notable one of these, which is at Road America, but at tracks like Silverstone, the AI, and Sonoma was the other one. AI mapping has been slightly improved so the cars don't just drive themselves off track, which means, you know, rip to easy race wins, but hello for, you know, actual fun racing battles that don't end when the AI decide to be slightly stupid, so, or at least slightly stupid in that sense, so that is something good. Anyways, that's the November update. Feel free to tell me your thoughts and feelings on this update. I'd be especially interested in your thoughts on the race shop. What do you think about it? Do you think my idea of just having a driver gear shop and having mods in crates, do you think that's a better idea, or do you really like the new race shop feature? Let me know. Anyways, thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, farewell.